Welcome back to Cozy English Corner. I am looking out the studio window right now at downtown Columbus, and the sky simply cannot decide what it wants to do today.
It is completely unpredictable. Yesterday, I was walking down High Street in a t-shirt, and this morning, I had to spend 10 minutes scraping thick ice off my windshield. Typical Ohio weather.
It really is. I'm Alex, and sitting across from me today is Naomi. She is a corporate communications consultant right here in the city. Naomi, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Alex. It is so nice to be out of the cold and in the studio.
Today we are looking at 3 very common words: almost, probably, and definitely. On the surface, they are just basic vocabulary for English learners. But as we discussed before we started recording, these words actually carry a massive amount of psychological weight.
They do. As someone who analyzes how people talk at work, I can tell you that these 3 words reveal so much about our inner state. They are entirely about how we manage our own anxiety and other people's expectations.
That is a powerful way to frame it. Let us start with almost. By definition, it means something is very close to happening, but it does not completely happen.
Yes, and emotionally, it is a word of regret. Think about it. I almost got the job. We almost bought a house before interest rates went up.
Oh, that second one hurts. That is a very real economic reality for so many people right now. There is a tiny gap between almost and the finish line, and all the pain lives in that gap.
Actually, there is a fascinating psychological concept behind this. It is called the near-miss effect. Our brains process an almost win very similarly to an actual win. It releases a surge of dopamine.
Wait, really? So failing, but failing closely, feels chemically rewarding to our nervous system?
Exactly. That is why it is so maddening. Think about an Ohio State football game. When the ball almost reaches the end zone but is stopped at the 1-yard line, the crowd loses their minds.
I know that collective groan in the stadium all too well. Your heart rate spikes, you stand up, and then nothing.
Right. So almost creates this massive tension. But we also use it to manage expectations in our daily progress. Like when someone texts, "I am almost there."
Which is funny because in American culture, "I am almost there" usually means I am still at my house looking for my keys.
We use it to soften the blow for the person waiting. We do not want them to feel angry, so we stretch the truth with almost.
That brings us perfectly to our second word, probably. This means something is likely to happen, maybe 70 or 80% certain, but it is not a guarantee.
I call probably the defense mechanism of the modern exhausted adult.
That is heavy. Why do you define it that way?
Because people are dealing with unprecedented levels of burnout right now. Between demanding jobs, high rent in cities like ours, and the sheer cost of living, our emotional reserves are empty. So when your energy is completely drained, making a firm promise feels like a physical threat. If you ask me, "Will you finish this report by Friday?" I will say, "Probably," because I am terrified of failing.
I completely understand that. It keeps a back door open. If something goes wrong, you can say, "Well, I only said I probably would."
Yes, and there is a cultural element here too. The Midwestern friendliness. We absolutely hate confrontation.
Oh, we do. We will do anything to avoid a direct conflict.
So, probably not becomes a very polite way of saying absolutely not. If a coworker asks, "Can you help me move my furniture this weekend?" and you say, "I probably cannot," you mean no.
It is fascinating how a word that technically means 70% certainty is used to communicate 0% certainty in social situations.
It is an emotional shield. We want people to like us, but we also want to protect our boundaries. Probably does both jobs.
Let us move to the strongest word on our scale, definitely. This means absolute certainty, 100%, no doubts.
This is the heavy anchor. When you say definitely, you are no longer just sharing information. You are making a contract with the other person.
If I say, I will definitely be there at 7 and I do not show up, I have broken trust. People remember a broken definitely.
They remember it in their nervous system, that sting of disappointment. But here is the problem. A lot of professionals overuse the word definitely because they want to sound strong.
They think it makes them sound like a confident leader, like they have everything under control.
Right, but it actually backfires. Here is another interesting piece of science. Studies in linguistics show that leaders who use hedging words like probably or likely are actually trusted more over a long period.
That goes against what most people are taught. We are usually told to speak with absolute authority.
Absolute authority is fragile. If you say, "This strategy will definitely work," and it fails, you lose all credibility. If you say, "This strategy will probably work," you show that you understand the risks.
It shows calibrated confidence. You are honest about the complexity of the real world.
Exactly. You should save definitely for moments when your heart, your mind, and reality completely align.
Like when someone asks if I want a hot coffee on a freezing Monday morning in Ohio.
Definitely. That is a zero-risk commitment.
Guiding, helpful. I want to touch on pronunciation because native speakers do not say these words the way they look on paper. This confuses a lot of learners.
Oh, absolutely. Let us take probably. It has 3 syllables written out, but Americans rarely say probably.
We swallow the middle part. We just say probably, 2 syllables.
Right. I will probably go to the store later. It flows so much better in a natural conversation.
And then there is definitely. Where does the stress go?
The stress is heavy on the very first syllable. Definitely. A common mistake is putting the stress on the second syllable, which sounds quite foreign.
And please, never spell it with an A. I have seen definitely in so many professional emails.
It is the most common spelling mistake in the corporate world. Remember, it comes from the word finite. So it is finite with D and LY.
That is a brilliant way to remember it. So to sum up our journey today, almost looks at the gap and feels regret.
Probably looks at the uncertain future with caution, acting as a shield for our tired nervous systems.
And definitely is the heavy anchor of absolute commitment. Use it only when you mean it.
Language is never just about grammar rules. Every word is a reflection of how we manage our relationships and our fears.
Naomi, this has been an incredible conversation. Thank you for bringing such depth to what we normally just treat as basic vocabulary.
It was my pleasure. I definitely enjoyed being here.
You earned that definitely. To everyone listening, thank you for joining us in the Cozy English Corner. Stay warm out there in Columbus or wherever you are, and we will talk to you next time.